shit are going on here. Okay. All right, so I want to get back into a little bit of Illustrator today, and then we'll go on with other things. And we get Illustrator up and going. With that, we were working with the Starbucks logo last time. So I want to just kind of simply go through a couple things just so you can kind of see it, make sure everybody is on the same page when it comes to Illustrator. And again, if there's questions as we're going along here, please shout out, raise your hand, type in the chat, something. Because again, as we start to get into this, it's important for me to know that you guys are grasping this and you're getting it. You know, and this is kind of the time to kind of get those questions in before we start speeding along really quick. All right, so we're on the ramp, we're getting ready to get on the freeway, and I'm gonna make sure you're okay to kick it into high speed. All right, so what I'm gonna do today is just kind of a couple quick little exercises just so you can kind of watch along as we go and see how we're gonna build things and put things together, and again, use not only the shape tools, but a little bit of the pen tool. And we're going to definitely come back in here and start using some of the Pathfinder modes, again, to composite and to bring together images. And then we're going to start to do some logo work. And I've got a sweet little video that I'm going to show to you guys. And then I'll put it up on the website also for you guys, because I have to stop the record when we get there. Otherwise, I get into copyright issues. Okay. So, let's start. We're almost in the season for making those awesome little jack-o'-lanterns. All right, so I'm gonna just start. I'm gonna start with a circle. We're gonna make up a jack-o'-lantern here really quick, and I'm just kind of working this along. Now, again, I made a perfect circle. I held down the ellipse tool, held down the shift as I do with the ellipse tool, and it made a perfect circle. Now, we all know pumpkins aren't perfectly square. So I can then come back in here and kind of tweak this out, right? Give it a little bit of flatness here. So I'm just kind of grabbing the Bezier handles, okay, the curve handles, and just kind of flatten it out, because we know pumpkins they're round, but they're not perfectly round. All right, so I'm just kind of giving it a little flat edge down here to sit on, and I'm going to just pull it out a little bit. I'm just kind of flattening it a little bit more. It's kind of round it, and then up here, it's a bit too perfect of an arc, so I'm just gonna kind of warp it out a little bit, because pumpkins are always off just a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to draw a completely accurate pumpkin, but you can see quickly we took that round shape and kind of changed it up a little bit and worked it up. Now, I'm not liking this too much. I think it's a little bit too flat. I'm gonna bring that in a little bit here. I want it flat, but not so flat. Okay, so we're a little bit off center, but we're feeling a little bit more pumpkin. Everything has to be on the bottom, so I'm going to sit on something. So I'm going to just draw a straight line down here as a base. Okay, so I'm just doing a line setting. If I hold the shift key as I draw, it will keep it perfectly straight, and it will actually come out, in this case, at a 90 degree or 0 degree. Now that's a little narrow, so I'm going up here to my stroke. I'm gonna give it a little bit more of a stroke. Actually, undo that because I'm drawing everything there. Put this off. I want to just this. I was selecting both items when I did that, so I want to just kind of give it a baseline, something to sit on. Okay, so there's the pumpkin sitting on it. And remember, we come back over here, we can come to properties of our thing, and we can touch stroke, and we can change the corner. So right now it's flat, but maybe I want to round them off a little bit just to kind of make it feel a little bit more humanistic. And right now the line is on top of the pumpkin. If I want the pumpkin to be forward, it'd be something like object, arrange, bring to front. Okay, so now it's sitting on top of that black line. So again, it's all about kind of thinking of things and how they fit. I could have also come over to my layers panel, and I'll undo that, and I could simply grab it and move it here. Okay, so either way works. Again, dragging it in the layers panel, and again, these are like sub layers, or I can simply come to object and arrange and make that change there. Okay, so that's the layer. And if you want to select a part of a layer, if you just click on the little, and we'll call it the circle over here, you see in this case, we're on the blue layer, that's why we get a little blue dot. It will highlight, okay, and then it will also highlight over here. Okay, so if you get confused in there, you can do that. And also know you can change these names, right? It says path, but I can change that to say pumpkin. Okay, so everything is kind of editable. And at this point, we're only dealing with a few layers, so it's not a big deal. But as you get into much more complicated layers, you may want to get in there and just start naming things so you can keep things organized and help in the future and down the line as you're working. All right, questions so far on that? Hopefully this is all making sense. Again, if you're like, I'm not sure, please say something so we can get everybody up to speed. Okay, so our pumpkin also has to have like that little gorge, the top part, right? The little handle, the pumpkin handle. So I'm just going to draw. Was that
the stem?
The stem? Yeah, there's the word. See, I can't think today. So I'm just going to kind of freehand draw that, and I'm just going to real quick go in, and we know it comes down here something like this, and I'm not worried about it intersecting because I want to kind of make these things separate. And the stem is going to be typically, we'll say it's just brown. And we've got a stem. Now, obviously that was done in a way that makes it very stiff. So I can come back in here and use my anchor point tool, and I can click these, and I'm going to just kind of click and drag. And what that is going to do is make these Bezier curves, so I can kind of tweak it a little bit. So I'm getting, now I have the handles. Okay, so now that I have the handles, I can kind of draw those out to where I want them to be. Oops, that one didn't take. There we go. Okay, so I'm just kind of modifying my gorge handle a little bit, the stem, as you guys say. All right, so that's not too bad. So we have a little stem. Now I may want to add, maybe say, let's say I want to add a little highlight to that. I'm going to do the same thing. I think a pen tool will work very well. I could use something like a rectangle tool or a rounded tool to do that. Let me do it that way. I'm going to use the rectangle tool, and I just basically want a little piece of white, and I'm going to make that thing white and put it there. Now it's not right because it's straight, so I can come back in here. Remember, I can kind of select these points and move them around. Give me that gorge. Look, again, don't be afraid to zoom in, okay? You've got all kinds of ways of looking at it and looking at it close. And when I look at these, they're okay, but I want to maybe round them a little bit. So I'm just selecting each anchor and rounding it to whatever degree I want. You're kind of giving it, but I want a little hump in here, I think. I want to kind of, this thing to kind of curve with this a little more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a point. So I'm going to simply come on my path and click, and I've added an anchor. And now I can take that anchor and pull that out. And again, I'm getting that straight angle there, so I can kind of use the curve tool there, or I can now come with the anchor point tool and drag it and get kind of a little Bezier curve coming in there. Okay, so it's going to drag that out. And if you're not getting the point or you're getting the handle instead of it, just zoom in. Get right in there. Get in there so you can see what you're doing. And I can see that I'm selecting the point, the handle instead of the, well, I got two anchors in there. I didn't want that. So now it clicked two. I'm gonna get rid of one. Pull that out. I'm gonna give it a little curve. I'm just getting grabbing those handles. So sometimes you got to get right in there. You got to zoom right in so you can see what you're doing. Otherwise, you're clicking and it's hard to see and adjust. And I'm going to add another point over here on the opposite side. And I'm going to make that a curve with the Bezier handles. Okay, I'm using the anchor tool. And I'm going to select that point with my direct select tool. And I'm just kind of bending it in a little bit. Give it a little bit more curve. There we go. My curve got backwards. Spin it back around. Okay, so that's not too bad. Maybe a little thinner, so I'm just selecting it with the select tool, and I'm going to grab the whole unit, just kind of scale it down, right? So I can go big and forward, and I'm just trying to want to scale it down a little bit, and I think I'm going to give it a little bit of a rotation up here, as such, to kind of give me that gorge thing. Now I think the stroke feels a little heavy, so in this case, I'm also going to take the stroke down. Let's see, let's take it down to 0.5. I want it there, but I don't want it there. Okay, I don't want to do too big. So we've got a start of our pumpkin going here. All right. Now, obviously, the pumpkin has these curves going on, right? So I could come in here with maybe the arc tool and just kind of draw something, maybe something like, let me just see what I want. Something like that. I can flip this. Okay, I can now rotate this around to maybe give it the, put it in kind of position. And we have those kind of things that are happening. But I would like it to have a little bit more arc to the bottom. So I'm just going to draw it with the pen tool. Okay, so coming back with the pen tool, I'm just going to draw that in. Okay, and it doesn't need to be anything precise. I'm just kind of looking for some kind of shape here. And again, I know they're square because when you typically draw it, it makes a square edge. Okay, the cap is square. So I'm going to make it rounded just in case it shows up a little bit there. And I'm going to give it a little bit more weight. There's a 3-point line there on that. So I'm just kind of tweaking out some of these points as I go. They're going to be the curves. And I'm going to up this up a little bit. That's at 3. We'll put that up to 4 for now. Okay, so we've got this one point, and I'm going to copy and paste. I'm just going to put another one in, right? I can come back with my select tool or direct select tool, and I can now move these points around. So I can kind of get this to be where they're coming together, but it's also working a little bit differently. So I don't have to have them identical. I'm just kind of putting those in. Okay, so I can do that. So we have the highlight over this side. We have some kind of a shadow that's working on this side at this point. Again, we're just kind of working this up. We all know what a pumpkin kind of looks like. So, you know, I think you can have some creative liberties here with your drawings of such. And I could keep building this in. I could keep adding more and put more on the other side. But I'm just going to say we're cool for that for right now. And then, of course, we're going to have some eyes. And I'm thinking maybe some star eyes. So I'm just going to do some stars. Give me a 5-point star. Okay, and I think that will work. And I'm just going to make that black for now. Okay, just so we can see that. And I want to scale that down. I'm holding the shift as I resize that corner. We're going to put some stars in there. Now I may get rid of these lines later. I don't know. We'll see in a second here. Now I want the other eye to be the same. So I'm going to hold down the Option key and drag. and I can get that over here. So I've got the second eye in, okay. And then we have the mouth. That's some kind of ellipse, maybe. We'll just kind of, whoa, big mouth, okay. Yeah, maybe I want to pull it up a little bit. And now I'm selecting just the one point to kind of give it that look. Okay, so I can just kind of reshape that. I'm going to actually get rid of this. I think they're going to just distracting me. We're going to get rid of those. And then you have to have a little nose. So I'm going to say we'll just do a little triangle nose. So I can do the polygon tool and I can click how many sides. Just make it 3 and click OK. And I'm going to give it a fill of black also for now. And then I'm going to hold shift and resize, shift and resize, and we're going to put that in here. Now you'll notice as I'm drawing and moving things show up like these little pink lines. These are guides or assistants of guides to kind of help you align things. So Illustrator is always trying to help you out to bring things together. So right now this triangle is above the big mouth. Okay. Let's get a little bit more down. There we go. So again, we got in a matter of a few minutes here, we built some kind of Halloween decor. It looks like it's off. It probably isn't. That's just me. Questions on this simple illustration at this point?
Yes. Really quick. What do you do if you want to make like a shape that is a combination of 2 shapes? Like for example, if you want to have a circle, like half of it and the other half is like a star, for example.
Okay, so let's do that. So you want a circle and then you want a star. Okay, and I'm going to just skip this down. Now you want the star to be where in relationship to the circle? On top?
Essentially like half. Like
you want half a star or half a want this to be cut in half?
Yeah, essentially half a star and then half a circle. Like how do you put those together as one thing?
Okay, so first you would have to make half a circle and half a star. So I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna kind of draw a give it a color so you can see it, a rectangle, because I want the black part, right? I don't want the is that what you're saying? You want to keep half the circle, have a half a circle?
Yeah, basically right, so how do you make half shapes?
Okay, so I made those. This is what I want. I want to cut off the half. This point I'm going to go to my Pathfinder, right? And I can do things like trim. Okay, and I literally cut it. I'll show you how I did it. Oops. Ungroup it. It made half. So what I did over here with the Pathfinder, I did trim and it literally sliced it. Okay, so that's one way. So basically we have these 2 shapes that are overlapping. It just goes back and I just trimmed it off. Okay, likewise, I could do something like crop, and that cropped where the overlap was. Okay, so it's basically both the same way of doing it, get the same item. And then we're going to do we'll do minus the front, which is up here. That took away the front part and just left the back part. In this case, it was the circle. Okay, so there's a couple ways of doing it. I like the minus. That to me seems to be the most logical. So if I want to cut this star in half, I'm going to draw a rectangle that's right down the middle. And I'm going to select those 2. And then I'm going to minus the front with my Pathfinder. And now I have half a shape. That makes was that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So yeah, we're always kind of doing that. And again, you can obviously create new and unique shapes by doing that, by simply kind of cutting them in half with that. It's kind of, I think, the cleanest way of doing it. and still being able to have some control over them. And again, just because we made this shape doesn't mean it's stuck at that shape. Okay, we can literally come back in here, right? And we can round the corners. We can do things like that with it, but we can also come back in here and add points. Okay, so I can add in a back in a point, and now that point is an active anchor that I can kind of work with. Okay, so know that as you're creating, the whole point is to be able to kind of modify and get what you want. And sometimes it takes a little creativity to figure out how to pull those things together. But trust me, it's designed to do that. This program is really designed to kind of build those things together. Now, I'm gonna make this kind of crazy thing that I want to cut these eyes out. Now we know in real life the pumpkin is cut out, but we would see inside the pumpkin. I'm gonna want us to see the background. So I'm gonna give us a background real quick. I'm just gonna draw in something black, and I'm gonna give it a fill. Now there are some patterns, okay, that you can kind of drop in. Okay, and these are kind of built into Illustrator. And we can also look up some different ones in the swatch library. So down here where the library is, the books. Okay, and I can go to patterns, and there's dots and lines and decorative and nature. So the dots are like this, right? So I can fill it with kind of those kind of things. They're kind of cool. Again, these are all in their patterns. And there's different textures. Again, these are all built in. So if you kind of want something like that, you can find them. Okay, you don't have to try to create that. Illustrator's done some work for you. And we'll give you some other ones here, patterns. I don't even know what that is. Click on that. Okay. So we have these. Okay. And again, they're here, they're not built up here yet, but if I want this to come up, all I have to do is kind of drag it over. So let's say I like the plume, just drag it to my swatches and drop it, and it puts it in up here. Okay. Now it looks like as I've been doing this, it's actually been adding them. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you have to literally drag it over, but because the way this is working right now, it's adding those as I go. And then let me get in a couple more here. We have the nature skins. So we can do, you know, peacocks, leopard, lion, something like a giraffe. Okay, so we can put those kind of items behind. Okay, so I'm gonna do tortoise. That's kind of cool. We'll do the purple because I'm being festive. So it's there, and I don't want these anymore. All I got to do is click the X, and it will go away. You can also scale those down by clicking the corner here, and I can move those around to someplace else if I want them. I can actually put them in or lock it into my side panel if I want. I'm just going to get rid of them for now because I'm not going to be using them. And I don't want this on top, so I'm just going to come down here to look at my layers. You can see it is on top, and I am selected. So I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Send to back. Okay, that way it's there. It's all the way at the bottom now. Okay, and I want to kind of block it. So I'm going to hit a lock on it, and that means it won't be interactive, meaning I can't touch it by accident, move it around. And as I'm trying to select things, it doesn't become an issue. Okay, and in fact, I can even turn it off for right now, knowing I'm going to turn it back on. So what I want to do is I want to cut these eyes out, and then we're going to start to see, excuse me, the purple coming through. So what I'm going to do is just kind of select, I'm just drawing with my mouse over top of the face, eyes, or the eyes, nose, and mouth, and the pumpkin itself. So I've selected all of those items, and you can see there's a little bit of a blue there. I can also look at my layers and see the blue. That means they've been selected. Now, what I want to do with my Pathfinder is here, I want to minus the front because they are, all those eyes and stuff are on top of the pumpkin. If I click this, it should get rid of everything. Boom, and I did. Okay. And now if I come back to my purple, I can turn it on. You can see we've got that purple going on behind the pumpkin. Okay. And now this pumpkin shape has these shapes physically built in. Okay. So if I move that pumpkin, you'll see that whatever's behind shows through. Okay. So it's physically a hole. And this pumpkin now has this shape in it. This, it doesn't have part of this because this is separate still. I just kind of selected them and then I can group them together. So now it stays together. Okay, so I just select the stem and you see it moves. I select the pumpkin, it moves. Okay, so they're connected together. And it looks like I somehow moved the stem to the back. So I'm going to look at my group here. Here is my pumpkin stems. I'm going to actually select those two and move them up. Okay, so just put them on top of the face. Okay, they are still grouped together, as we can see here, but I just kind of wanted to do that so it's on top and not behind the pumpkin. Okay, things you can do, like on this background, it feels like it's getting a little bit heavy. So I'm going to unlock it and go to properties, and I'm going to maybe drop its opacity down a little bit. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing. Let me select the right object. Okay, we're there. I'm just going to drop it down. So we still have the pattern, but we're at about a 62% opacity. I'm going to lock it again just so I can work. If you don't lock something, like I said, you end up selecting things that you didn't want to select, and it just becomes a hassle. So, you know, feel free to come and lock and re-unlock and do those kind of things with layers. And you can also right shift. Okay, now it's active. Undo lock. Okay, so I'm just right clicking on my mouse and I'm getting some options here. And I'm just going to, in this case, lock it back up. Okay. Other things you can see in here. Again, I'm just kind of selecting to transform. Again, I don't do a lot of transform except if I want to reflect, those type of things. Typically, I just kind of grab and go. Joining brings points together. Example would be if I have like an open-ended object and I want to fill it out, I can use join. But these are kind of together now, right? And this kind of makes a cool thing. And likewise, like something like this pattern, because they were in vector, I'm going to zoom as you can see here. This should cut through. Let me just try that and see. I'm going to draw just a round circle. And I'm going to just copy that. I want to see if it's going to put this pattern in the circle, meaning it's going to cut to that. It should. Let me just double check. So I'm going to minus the rear. I'm going to go to Pathfinder, and I want to take the back off. Minus the back. No, it's not. It's not a. The pattern is a pattern. It's not a true vectorized pattern. This doesn't look like it. Let's look at that and see. I thought we could be able to do that with the pattern, bring it in. And then I know I can. Let me see if I can do the. Well, let me see. Maybe I had it not selected. No results. Let me do it this way. Okay, so I can cut out the pattern that way. So that was a thing together. Intersect that. Let me just see what over here it did. No, it didn't do it. I'm just looking at ways of kind of getting a round circle that has that. So that excluded, that was not what I wanted. That would not do it. I cut the circle out again. I was just trying to get that pattern into a round shape. Oh, there we go. So it cropped and it cut the circle, or cut the outside to be the circle. Okay, so now I have a round circle with the pattern with it. Now you see it's part of that pattern. It kind of moves around. That's kind of weird. Does it go off? No, it's just kind of weird. The circle has the pattern in it, but the pattern changes somehow as I'm moving it. It's basically, that's kind of bizarre. I like it though. Okay, so you can get that pattern into something, but it gets a little weird with changing position as to exactly where that pattern is. I don't know. I guess you could probably, probably some way to lock it. Let's make the picture pretty. Can't do it. I gotta watch it. Running out of memory. Okay. So you can get creative here like this. We did cut that out, and we'll just get rid of that for now. That was me going down the rabbit hole. Okay, and you can see even here when I'm moving it, the shape is patterns moving with the background. Kind of strange. Okay. All right, so there's a little bit of strangeness going on there, but overall it's doing what we wanted. Okay, so any questions on how we built this up? Could everybody do this? Anybody who feels like they could not make a jack-o'-lantern at this point with Illustrator?
It seems easy to do.
Okay.
When is this due?
Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna. You guys gotta tell me if y'all can do it, then we'll just. I might have it as a quick homework project, but we'll talk in a second here. Everybody can do this? We're good?
Yeah.
All good.
All right.
Yep.
We're gonna pause on this. Let me just save this in case I need it later. Pumpkin one. Let's start. All right, I want to show you guys a quick video on logo design. We're going to get into kind of the thoughts of logo design, and I need to grab that up real quick. Okay, I'm gonna stop the record just for now while we watch this video. Otherwise, the YouTube gets all weird because this is copyrighted stuff. So I'm gonna pause it, but I'm gonna put the link to this up on our website so we can use it. You can look at it. So let me. So Aaron's cool. I've met him a few times. I drove him around once. He came down here to Orange County, and one of the colleges I used to teach at, and I had to take him around. So he's a cool dude. He is. He's really kind of fun. He's got a lot of cool talks. Now, I'll give you a pre-warning on some of these talks. He uses strong language for those that might be offended. If you're not offended, feel free, but don't be surprised if strong language comes up. I didn't show any today, but he's got some cool work. His nice designs. He's got at least one good book out. I like him personally because I like his style. It's very kind of, we'll call it retro, is what he does. And like I said, he's been around the country talking and presenting and doing work and logos and designs over time here. So I highly recommend kind of looking him up and seeing, you know, some of his work, checking out his books. And like I said, he's a fun dude. He really is. I'm trying to find my picture of him. Like shame to fame. Where the heck is it? One second here. Oh yeah, there it is. That's there's me and Aaron. I'm sure that's it. Anyway, um, cool dude. So check us out, and then you can check out his website. It's let me just see. I think it's aarondraplin.com. He's famous. Probably got a wiki page too. So he's got like, he always has, sells merch. He sells the merch. He's got all kinds of stuff. These are some new things that came out. He's got a cool Instagram. And then you can just kind of go through and see some of his work. He did a lot of logo work. But obviously when you do logo work, it's not just the logo. These logos are getting transformed and utilized in other kind of things also, as he said. We're not typically seeing the logo just in a little bit of white space. We're having to put it into something else. So here's the sizzle pie, for example. It's a sign outside the store. It's a pizza box. Okay, so we're always having to try to utilize skateboards. Okay, Dinosaur Junior. Looks like just a poster. A company called Cole. Okay, so it's kind of branding, manuals, everything's kind of goes together. So when we're designing, it's very seldom just one thing. Oftentimes it's that thing along with other things and how that would get unified and utilized. And it talks about field notes. Obviously, I have field notes. Keep notes in. They're good, right? You can just kind of scribble your stuff inside and keep going. And it's pretty, they're good. I have a bunch, and it's kind of easy to carry around, easy to work up stuff in. And as he was showing you, sketching's good. Okay, so those, especially those that have come from a more traditional background, you know, you want to get your ideas down and get them up and going, and then you can start to bring them into something like your Illustrator and your projects and so forth. Okay, questions on anything thus far on that? Making sense? All right. Looks like I got a lot of your projects. I haven't gotten everybody's yet. So I'm going to give you time because I'm a patient man when it comes to these projects. And I know things are crazy and a little bit busy. So we're going to review projects on Monday. Yeah. So if you've already turned it in, bravo, thank you. I'll give you a quick email back. Hopefully today. My email's been up and down. Had some internet issues, but I'll send you a quick email. Got it. Thank you. So you know. But if you sent it, be rest assured, if there was a problem, we'll get that figured out. So if you haven't turned it in, get that done. If you have turned it in, I want you to start doing some preliminary ideas and research. And what we're going to do next is we're going to design a travel agency logo. I'm just Googling travel logos, and you can do this too. You obviously want to do research. And these are just going to be things that are popping up. Now, some of these you can see are for sale, meaning somebody designed these and is selling them, and all you got to do is drop your name in. Okay. But you want to look at stuff and see what's working, what's not working, what kind of ideas are out there. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to um, have an airplane in it. Obviously, this is a nice one. It's like backpacking. Again, it's a different kind of travel. This one's got a plane and a boat. We look at something like the Travelocity and those kind of sites. Okay, what do their logos look like? So we're doing a travel. So it's a made-up travel company. Okay, so it's not one. It's not AAA Travel, or it's something that you make up. So you can give it the name. Okay, and it does not have to have the word travel in it. I will tell you there's three main types of logos, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. But I want you to know that as you're doing. Three main types. See if I can get this. Let me find you. So, three main types. The main type of word mark, which is basically just the words. Now you can see it's not just the type that you came out of the computer. They got in there, did some modifications. Even in here, they're messing with things. Okay, and the word marks are pretty common. The next is what I call a monogram. Basically, it's initials with a name. Okay, and I like to call this a combination logo. So it's basically something and the company name. So in this case, they're using more or less letters for that. This is a typical combination where there's some kind of icon, illustration, and then the name. Okay, so maybe it's robot travels, right? So the robot, and then down here it's robot, and then travels, or something like that. So you're working these combinations together, and then ultimately you'll get into something where you get the brand. Well, you'll get just the icon. They're not showing a brand mark. Starbucks is an example, right? Starbucks is taking the name off. There are no words on it anymore. It's just the Starbucks. Target, their logo is just the Target. Okay. McDonald's, just the M now. Okay. It doesn't mean they don't use the word McDonald's in places with it, but they'll use it many times with just the M, and you know it's that. So if you look at the French fries, it's just an M on there on the French fries box because that's McDonald's. Okay, so they don't have to say M and McDonald's anymore. It's just the M. Okay, whereas up here we've got the name. Okay, here we've got some kind of icon or logo with it. So this is pretty much this, except when they're saying combination in this particular website, they're talking about some kind of illustration. Okay, so it's typically some kind of icon with a name. And I think that's probably where 99% of your logos are going to go at this point, because it's fun to create these kind of icons along with the word marks. Okay, so I want you to start to brainstorm on a travel agency of some sort. Okay, so you can kind of figure out the focus of your travel agency or how it travels, or it might be focused specifically on, I don't know, we'll say South American travel, and that's going to look different than if your company was a European travel agency or a company that focuses on Europe, or just a generalized travel company. They're all going to be a little bit different. And then what kind of icons on there? Okay, you're basically the client, so don't worry about, do I need to put an airplane on there? No. Okay, a travel agent may tell you that, but we don't need to do that. This is up to you to get creative here and come up with an idea with this. So it can be kind of really anything you want. It's just we're kind of making a travel agency out of it. Okay. And then ultimately we're going to apply this later to a poster. But right now we're working that logo first. Okay. And as you saw from Aaron's video, it goes pretty quick, but it takes time. It takes time to get in there and start to finesse things and getting things just the way you want, and thinking about the combinations and kind of working up variations on the theme to get to something that totally works and will be creative for you. Just saying 5. No, I just pulled it, as you can see. Some say 3. I say 5. It's up to them. Yeah, we'll go through the part of the logo. So word mark here, eBay, right? It's just letters, okay? And they've been modified and they've been colored, of course. And a letter form, they're saying a letter form. They're basically saying it's just a letter. So if we had like a T that stood for Target, that's what they're calling a letter form. This is an abstraction M to make McDonald's, of course. Emblems, okay, and pictograms or pictorial marks, Apple computer, okay, and then we do abstract. So everybody's kind of defining a little bit differently, but, and then combination, some kind of mark or abstraction along with the name. So even something like Adidas, which is very well known, typically has all of these elements together. They can now separate them apart. If you saw this, or you even saw the 3 lines, that's telling you it's Adidas. So again, a lot of it takes time. It takes, I like to say, millions and millions of impressions. Okay, you may not drink coffee, okay, but you know what Starbucks is. You know the logo, okay. You know, so these brands have become so iconic, and it's not like Starbucks has been doing TV commercials for a bazillion years, and you've seen it. They just kind of recently started, it seems like, with commercials. But these things have become so big and so iconic, you know what they are. So, you know, that's kind of the ultimate goal for designers, is to have your something you create become iconic. Sometimes it does. Most of the times it doesn't. Okay. And when it does, you're kind of happy and you're surprised. I still get excited when I see my National Park Geek logo on something. I was literally not. I go to get nothing, but like I said, maybe a month ago, I saw my logo with 2 stickers of my logo on 2 separate cars in like 2 days here in Yorba Linda. I was like freaked out, like, oh my God, there's my logo. Oh God, you know. And I'm like trying to take pictures of this stuff because I get excited by seeing my work out there and seeing people being a part of this thing that I created, and people taking and putting my mark on their car. I mean, that's, like, to me, that's huge. You know, not to mention they bought the sticker for $3 or something, and then they put it on something. So that's kind of cool. And you'll see that as you start to design and get work out there, whether it be seeing your stuff in the store, on some package that you designed, or it's on a brochure flyer that's been put out there, or it's something that shows up on, you know, some kind of TV thing. It's exciting. It's cool thing of design to see your mark get out there, and become something, right? And you hope it does. Okay. But again, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes effort, and it's not just typically creating this thing and you're done. Okay. It totally takes time. No, I don't want to, you guys. And a couple things, just the idea, we've all seen the Citibank logo. And this is basically, there's a new Citibank, which this is now. It's a combination of 2 companies. It was Citibank, and then it was Umbrella Insurance. Okay, so that's where this came from an umbrella. That's this little curve here. So you can sign a T becomes the handle for the umbrella. So again, there's a lot of stuff that goes on sometimes in these logos that you may or may not know, and that's okay. You're not necessarily expected to know that, but they come from there, and these take time. I mean, Paula Shear, she works at Pentagram in New York. It took her, like, I think they said, almost a year to get to this. And they, you know, they went through meetings, they went through logo changes and different things. She said she sketched this at the first meeting, and it literally took a year to get to a point where Citibank Corporation said, yeah, that's the one we want to go with. You know, and they were going through a variety of different tries and changes and colors and different ideas that were completely different. Okay, and it ultimately came back to this, which has become their logo. Okay, so it takes time. This is her sketch right here. You can see that a $1.5 million logo. Okay, so they paid money, a lot of money going on, but this is from this to this, it took like about a year. Okay. And sometimes it's just, it happens, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it did. For her, just things clicked, things were coming into her head, and she put it down on paper. And ultimately, it got moved into something else. And but there's a lot of money that gets spent on some of this stuff. Kind of amazing, to tell you the truth. All right, so travel logos. All right, so it's kind of work up an idea for a name, start to do some sketches, get some ideas out, do a little research, looking at other logos, and don't just look at travel logos like I'm looking at here. Look at other things, okay, that might help you out and might become something that will work for you. Here's Expedia combination, right? We got the words and we got this little jet globe icon that they've created there. And I think travel is a pretty easy kind of thing to do. But don't necessarily get caught in the cliches. You can if you want to, but you know, what can you do differently? What can you do that's gonna maybe stand out and be different in some kind of way? Questions?
Would you like for us to like send you kind of what we're got an idea of for our thing, or not yet?
Say it again.
Sorry, would you like us to send you like an idea of
Oh, no,
what
no,
we're
no,
doing?
no, you keep it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. We'll look at it and we'll go through stuff. But no, I don't need it today. I don't have anything like that. Keep working
Alrighty.
it, keep thinking it. Does that make sense? Don't. And you could, there's going to be, I guarantee you, somebody is going to change their mind. They're going to go with, I'm going to go with, you know, Acme Travel. And that's what they're doing. And all of a sudden, a week from now, they're going to go, nah, I want to do something else. I want to do Apple Travel or, you know, something else. Bacon Travel. I love bacon. I'm going to do a bacon travel company. Cool. That's fine. So don't worry about it. Again, I want you guys to be creative and not like get yourselves locked into something yet. We got time. I haven't given a deadline on this yet. It's going to be, I don't know, we'll say a couple weeks. It's not going to be a month from now, but you know, we're going to get this done. But I want you to start thinking about it, and I'll work up a sheet that kind of specs out what we're going to do with this logo, because we're going to do a little bit more than just kind of make the logo. I'm going to have you apply it in a couple different situations as we go for Illustrator. Okay. Other questions? All right, so if you haven't gotten your projects in your record album, get that to me. Again, I'm starting to get everything downloaded and put in the folders here on my side. And I'll drop you guys quick emails of I got it, thanks. So don't panic on any of that. If you haven't finished, finish them up, get those to me. If you are finished, or even if you're not finished, start thinking about the idea of your travel agency and what you would like to do. And we'll go through next week. We'll go through and mock up some logos. Okay, so I don't want to just like, here, do it. You start thinking and start sketching, that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to go through other ideas, and I'll show you how to work with shapes and how we can contain things and move things and put things together. How do we make, you know, this element combine with this element, like the typography, and how do we fit that into stuff? So I'm going to get into all of that with you as we start to go through. I'll demo building up some logos, and that may change your ideas too, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so don't think you're stuck. Yes.
Oh, nothing.
Okay. All right, anything else? Everybody okay? Makes sense today, everything?
Yeah.
We turn in the album projects to your email, correct?
Yes. It's Daniel@newdesigns.com. Type it again. Yeah, and that's also on the website. Okay, so yeah, feel free to drop those in to the web, to my email. Okay, and I'll look at the projects as they come in, and we'll get those back. We'll go through them on Monday. Okay, we'll go through and let you guys talk about them, type of thing. Or I'll talk about them. You don't have to even speak about them unless you want to. And some people are shy. Some people are shy that way. Okay. Anything else? Everybody okay? Feeling good?
Yeah.
All right. And like I said, if you have questions that even arise from Photoshop or anything, come back to me with them, okay? I want you guys to keep up with that stuff, and I want you to kind of forget, or, you know, like, hey, I want to mention something. How do I, let me know. And I still know, I know you guys, I think I owe you guys some 3D, is that right? I wrote that down. Yeah, you guys would want to do like some perspective and 3D stuff. So let me just put that again, the note. I'm gonna add some videos to the website for you guys. 3D and Draftland. Okay, so I'll get some of those up on the site to help you out for those that are looking for some additional things there. All right, anything else, y'all? All right, have a good weekend. It's supposed to be fairly nice, a little warm, maybe Friday, Saturday, but other than that, decent. So enjoy, work a little bit, but don't work all that much. Enjoy life. And like I said, you can, you know, keep going and keep working it and keep putting in doing the work, okay? You keep doing it and it's gonna get better, it's gonna get easier. And Illustrator is a little bit different. So, you know, get in there and start working with it. That way, you know, you're gonna get it down. It's just a little bit different way of thinking and working than we have with Photoshop. All right, anything else before we go? All right.
I don't think so. Thanks.
Yes. You think that? All right.
All right. Have a
Okay.
nice weekend.
All right. You too, guys. Have a good weekend.
Alrighty, take care.
Thank you.
Professor, good question.
Bye.
I was kind of going in and out. My Wi-Fi was connecting up. Did I miss
Oh.
anything crucial? Did we discuss our project right now, or?
Yeah, just send the record albums to me at the email we have here, Daniel and New Designs. It's okay. Get it to me. I'm not grading it tonight and whatever. Just get them to me and we'll go through them next week. Because I'm
Alright,
still
I
getting stuff and I know some are slow coming in. So,
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
all right, no problem. Have a good weekend.
You too. Take care.
Professor,
Yes. Yes. Question there. What type of question?
oh, I accidentally muted myself. Sorry. I finished everything, but when I merged them together, I can't find the